yes, presentation person.
Okay, we are live, and I'm gonna check here in a second. But mic should be on, and camera is on.
Hold on.
Thank you for the reminder.
After you check, do you want us to go ahead or just wait for you?
We should be good to go. I'm just gonna check the sound.
Everything's saying 6:30. What do I say? Let's call the order at 6:30. A roll call. So Stephen is now officially a regular member of the board, and we have 2 open positions for alternates. Does anyone need to know anything? Okay.
Welcome aboard. Very true.
We'll do citizens' comments. I guess I should do.
David Mers Jr., 148 Village Path. At the council meeting on Tuesday, the mayor expressed interest in sending some tasks out to all of the boards and commissions. You guys are ahead of the curve because you've actually done one of the 2 he asked for you guys to do already. So he was hoping that the Parks Board could look at the parks rules and regulations and update those if necessary. And I informed him that you guys already did that, and then council fell on our faces and didn't actually take action on it. So I'm just going to get that put back on the agenda, and then you're already done. The second one is he wanted you to look at the fee schedule and make possible recommendations on updating some of the fees for different services in the park. So I'm going to work with Jonah to get that on a future agenda for you guys.
There's a timeline associated with that. Fee schedule, the proposed fee schedule will be available to council at the 26th meeting. It's a meeting in 2 weeks, so y'all won't have time to be between now and then. And then it will be adopted, I think, at the second meeting in September.
Can it be changed mid-year?
It can be. There may be additional notice requirements.
Okay.
That's one reason why we try to do it.
So he made this decision too late to definitely get it to you before the budget's rolled out. But if nothing else, you can sit on your recommendations for a year and then yell at us in May. All right. Thank you.
Oh, what was the first task? I'm sorry.
The first one was the park rules and regulations, which the board actually already completed earlier this year and forwarded to council for action. So they don't have any further action on that. I just need to make sure that gets back on the agenda.
If I may clarify, so the rules and regulations were adopted by council and signed under Mayor Schroeder. Originally they did come before council, and when Mayor Alexander, he had some comments about it, being that it was adopted under ordinance. So we needed to just come back as an amendment and then review it with the city attorney. So we did that, and then we brought it back. And there were a couple of other changes in there, but it was adopted as an amendment to the ordinance. So
well, then I don't know.
It was one of the meetings he was not present at. So he came to the first one, and then he missed the second one where we brought it back, and then it was.
Well, then he really should have known this already.
So yeah, I wasn't here at the council meeting, and I listened to it the day after. So, but yes. But we can,
we'll try and get you the fee schedule.
I think too, the board wanted to also review it yearly, so we can always do that as well.
All right, thank you.
Do you want?
Can I add something to this? We have the hiking trail rules, because it's not in the rules that are adopted. We're revising those, and I'll have it to you in the next couple of days.
Are you?
Well, do you want to do the minutes and then
yes.
follow the agenda?
Okay, I guess so. Sure. And any other citizens' comments? Okay, so number 4, we need to approve the minutes for July 16th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Great. We're on 5A. There's a presentation for the September Square entrance improvement plans. Is that you? Would you like to?
Yes,
You're up.
Good timing.
And it's being live streamed too.
Okay, so I'm representing Johnny Guzman, Bray Robertson, and Connor Habe and Curtis Benford. This is for their 4-H project, but it's back to Panther Night, and all the sports teams have to be there at 6:30, so they couldn't be here tonight. But anyhow, what they're working on is on a Veterans Memorial Walkway, and we've been working with Priscilla, and we've already met with American Legion and gotten their approval. And I believe I gave Adriana the plans. I'm not sure you guys have them. But anyhow, the purpose of the project is, number one, to recognize the veterans, and number two, to bring awareness to, there's going to be 6 benches for each branch of service. Then there's going to be a prisoner of war MIA veteran on the left, and then a suicide awareness veteran on the right. And then they'll be collecting all the money. This is all going to go through 4-H. The minimum donation is going to be $500, and we'll give the donors a form to fill out. The sidewalk is going to be tied in like the existing sidewalk by concrete, and then the peat gravel in the center. And so that is, I think you guys have copies of everything. So,
Yes, I'll bring it up.
okay,
Let me put it all together
okay.
real quick. Sorry. This is the letter from the American Legion, so I don't know if you want to start there.
So they met last night. They had their executive meeting, and these are some of the recommendations that they want as far as some of the proposed changes, just the order of the bench, and then some of the wording on the memorials. So that would be the only thing that would change, would be the wording. But the height and the width and the size of the benches, none of that will change. But just the wording. And I think they wanted, instead of soldiers suicide awareness, they want veterans awareness, because I wasn't even aware that soldiers is Army. And then they want Semper Fi instead of whatever the rock guy. Yeah. Yes. So these are the changes that they proposed. And so we're going to go with whatever American Legion wants. And so once we make the changes, we'll go back and they'll meet with their executive committee before we have like the final wording. But this are the memorials and these are the benches. Yes.
I'm a veteran. When you put the 6 plaques, whatever, you go in order of the year that they were established?
I think that's what they're proposing. They're going to go to, yes, they're going to start this as we walk in.
First or whatever?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So these are out of order. These are out of order because we haven't been able to update the plans because they met last night. But I'll send this to the rock guy out of New Braunfels. And he's the one that did the work at the COVID-19 memorial behind the library. So we're going to go with the same company. So it'll be the same kind of etching that will be on the memorial and so forth. It's supposed to be non-fade and last a lifetime. And so minimal upkeep, and it'll stay nice for a long, long time.
So per the American Legion's letter, it's saying that on the left it would be Army, Air Force, Space Force, and on the right Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. So I guess whatever order that is. And then these are what we originally got. So the order there on this is not accurate, but it can depict more or less. So.
And the walkway is going to open up a little bit. It's going to open up a little bit. This is kind of generic, but that's what we came up with. It just, that looks kind of more like it's straight, but it's just going to go straight and then out.
So it'll open up from the street, and then it'll also open up from to the existing.
I don't think it's going to open up from the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to open up when it connects to the existing walkway.
So it'll,
Yeah.
So based on this depiction here, is the street on the left?
Yeah, the street's on the left, and then the existing walkway to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you walk in, you'll see the memorial,
Mhm.
and then the benches.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the plaque donors will probably be between the benches, but American Legion didn't want anything that was too big. They wanted to keep that minimal, so that'll be lower to the ground, and Yeah.
So the only thing that I forgot to mention when I had met with Priscilla out there is we do have irrigation, so we'll just have to make sure we flag out wherever those heads are, and then if you guys dig down what that looks like, any rerouting of pipe, we'll have to figure that out as well. So
Okay.
that's the only issue that I have. Not issue, just
Yeah.
workaround.
And you like the installation and how to, I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like it'll be easy to.
Yeah,
borrow
I would.
and
What I would recommend too. We haven't done it yet, but I do know that they came out with a new product that is. It's almost like a glue or an adhesive that you can put on crushed granite.
Yeah.
Same thing with mulch. So I don't know. Maybe that's an idea, or if we can work that into the budget. Maybe adding that just so that way that because we're so close to the grass that the crushed granite doesn't get.
We'll probably do the glue and then stamp it down
Okay.
and all that good stuff. Yeah. We'll make it so the weeds do not go in. Yes.
Works for me.
What does it mean, family side and vet side?
Oh, it's the garden club. The garden club has the 2 walkways.
Okay.
And if they have pavers out there, and on the left-hand side is the family pavers. If you've ever been out there, in the right side are the veteran pavers that people were able to purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never noticed.
Can I just say a couple of things about the entrance on the street? We're putting it far enough back. There's been a talk about getting an entrance to September Square. Bobby, when he was mayor, he wanted to do a big middle thing across to have some people, because there isn't an entrance to September Square. We've also been pushing over the years for this one.
You need to walk away.
We've also been talking about and trying to get head-in parking on that side of the street instead of parallel, people park parallel from both sides, coming in this way. And we've been asking for several, trying to get somebody to just look at making, is that another?
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
When you come off of either Alamo, when you come off of Alamo, make it one way towards the, and have head-in parking. Because you can park twice, what did we figure? Twice as
About twice as many vehicles. Yeah.
in there. So we're planning this a little farther up, so if anybody ever starts listening to get the parking there,
It's far enough.
it won't interrupt.
With what's already.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Priscilla actually went out there and we measured and did everything.
Yeah, and Bill King was with us, he was, one time, he was helping us measure too, along with John. But we hope we moved that up far enough there, so.
How far from the or the rocks? Those rocks that are there is that Kurt? No. I know they're historic. I mean, they're just rocks. But how far more or less from those rocks? Because the other thing too is based on the angle of those parkings, you can add more.
It was like 10 feet.
Okay, then that should be fine.
It was something like, I think it was something like 10 feet.
I
Yeah.
think I have 10 feet on my notes, but
Yeah.
they're behind the cables. There's, or the wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Poles that are
Yeah.
there, yes, we're starting it behind those.
Okay.
It wouldn't have to be disruptive if we were to get somebody.
Works for me.
Any other questions?
No, looks good.
Timeline?
So I spoke to the rock guy today. He'll ask the total cost of the project. He said about 9,300. I'm just going to say 10,000 just in case, at the max.
Mhm.
Once we get approval from the city, he says it's what did he tell me? We got to put a third down and then a third and then a third. I think 30 days from the time that we put a third for him to order the rock and for it to cure. But I told him if we could get approval by October, then we would want everything completed by January. So that's what we're shooting.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this most likely will have to go before council. I'll verify with Scott, but it'll probably go before council as long as it has the stamp, the approval from.
Well, it's going into HLC.
Oh, it's still going to go to HLC. Okay.
It's going to HLC next, because the HLC covers our.
Okay. So if Park Board is good with it, HLC is good with it, then I'll put it on council's agenda whenever we've got both of those approvals.
Yep. And if you guys need additional information, just shoot me an email or a text. Adriana and Priscilla, I've been corresponding with them. And then I'll update the new plans with the changes at American Legion. And then if council approves, we'll go back to American Legion to make sure they're okay with the wording and the order, so everything's set in stone.
Literally.
This is also the first time we've had their American Legion okay something that we wanted to use. They're very, that's why I asked for a letter.
How many other projects have been floated?
Oh, there's been.
More than 10?
Our COVID-19 memorial project, it
Yeah.
took 2 years to get an approval, and Priscilla was very gracious and helped us get that behind the library, but that was one of the proposed areas, and they shot, but yeah.
There's been several. And I understand.
But I think this will tie in great. They're really excited. I think that we probably got a lot of donations that night.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
so
really
we're
good.
excited.
I'll work with you on getting some more information presentation wise, so that way I can put it in council's packets. I'll put it on their packet sooner rather than later, so that way if they want to discuss it, they have that option to discuss
Okay.
it and then bring it back if it does get pushed back. But
Okay.
fantastic.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
we have, do y'all want to do a motion for,
Would that be
Yeah. Well,
number
the-
6A?
that would be 6A, so we've finished 5A. Is there any other discussion that y'all would like to do for the interest plans? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the presentation by Cindy Guzman for the September Square entrance and walkway.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, so we're done with 6A. Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Guzman, and for taking care of this, taking care of the square. On 6B, discuss and take action on Lions Park Splash Pad Foundation issues.
Yep.
I think you have some discussion.
Yeah. So there's
I liked your timeline, Jonah. That was very helpful.
quick and simple. I'm trying to keep everything nice, straightforward. Facts. So in the packet there was a timeline, more or less. It doesn't have everything in there, but it has the bullet points. May of 2022, splash pad equipment was ordered. Splash pad grand opening was June of 2023. We started seeing issues May of 27 of 2024. And then we kind of remember how everything was following those issues. So I did go out there and meet with Scott and Advanced Aquatics and MWF Concrete. It was a very informational meeting. Fortunately, it really wasn't the news that we wanted to hear, but I did put a letter in here at the bottom from Mike Ferris on what he thinks is the problem, which it most likely is. But basically, to sum it up, his letter is just stating that there was a sub foundation issue. The clay dried out, causing a lot of the shifting and moving of the concrete. He said that we're in a historic drought, and basically, what he did was to standard and to what the specifications were of Vortex. Really, I don't know if Scott's gonna share anything, but basically that's kind of where I'm at. For me, I don't know if it really was a plumber install issue, or if it was a concrete install issue, or if it was just the location, being that clay just really was the main factor in causing all of this damage. I know that there have been ideas floated around about replacing the splash pad and putting a pavilion on top of it. Again, I don't know what direction council's wanting to go forward with this. I know Scott is very supportive
Yes, I heard my name.
supportive of keeping the splash pad.
Is
I
it,
think
is it fixable?
it is fixable.
Just a lot.
That was,
It's gonna cost.
About the
Bob Lee's idea.
Oh,
Very,
let me have
very
it.
little.
Yeah.
yeah, he
About
called me
putting
too.
Well, he has a point to a certain extent. Now, I haven't had a chance to talk. I did meet with Phil earlier, but we didn't talk about that. But Councilman King, sorry.
What was Bob Lee's idea?
Yeah, I'm about to get there. So
Okay.
we're working through the warranty issue. Right now, I mean, we've got bids for what it would cost to fix it. But kind of the plan is, well, you pay us to fix it and we'll fix it. And my thoughts more along the lines of, we already paid to put this in. It failed. It sucks that it failed. I understand it was due to the drought, but bottom line, we paid for a working splash pad. We got a non-working splash pad. We have contracts and agreements for a reason, and you need to live up to your contract kind of thing. But I'm not a legal expert or any of that nonsense. So I'm going to work with Phil King on that aspect of it. But Councilman Lee's suggestion was, well, let's just, if you're saying you can reuse the stuff that's there, let's just take that off, and we'll patch the concrete where it needs patching, and we'll put a shade cover over it, and there you go. We've got a pavilion. It's not an absurd idea. It seems like a waste, but if you're going to have to spend a bunch of money to fix it, I mean, his point is, why not just, people have been asking for a shade structure. Let's put a shade structure, and then then we can build the splash pad at another time in another location when we're ready to do that. I don't know how much support there is on council. This is just one council person speaking his mind, which is welcome to do. There's not a consensus around it yet. I told them, please hold off on making a recommendation or decision on that until we can get an idea of what we're up against. If they're going to fix it at no cost to us, which is what my preference would be, I don't know if that's realistic, then we're going to get it fixed, right? I mean,
So is the concrete guy saying that if it would have been somewhere else, this wouldn't have happened?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
What his recommendation is, based on the drought and based on other factors that I don't think were factored in prior to, what his recommendation is removing about 1 foot to 2 feet worth of that soil clay, putting in road base, compacting it, and then building on top of that. So that way you have that sub foundation, and then anything on top of that will hopefully hold. The other addition that he was recommending is adding in beams, basically, instead of just having one perimeter beam, having beams going, crisscross in between the pad. So that way that pad becomes a floating concrete pad.
but the bottom line is, there was an engineered plan, and this was built to that specification.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually overbuilt to a certain extent, which did not contribute to its failure. But the pad is not whatever it was, 4 inches. It's like 7 or 8 inches thick. There's more steel in it than is absolutely required. So it was kind of overbuilt in that respect. And again, it's unfortunate. The drought caused what it did. The soils in that area are poor. And he has a suggestion, but I want to have the Councilman King, who is an engineer, look at that, give his appraisal of it, and then work through, based on whatever the outcome of that is, have another conversation with the two folks that were involved in this project and see what comes of that, right? And I don't know how soon we'll get all that done, but that's the current plan. I'm working with Councilman King on it.
So you really want to get them to honor the warranty?
Yeah. I want a splash pad. I think the kids want splash pads, and I think it's a black eye. Like, I want this to work, and I understand why it doesn't work, and I get what they're saying, but I want to have that validated, and we're looking for the third party validation, if you think about it that way, from Councilman King. If you don't know, that's what he does. He's asked to do quite frequently is be an expert witness in cases where engineering failures have occurred, buildings have sunk or whatever. That's what he does. He goes in after the fact and kind of assigns blame based on his own knowledge and expertise. So I'm hoping he can help the city in this regard, and he should be able to. He's offered to do that. So.
You would think that the engineering at the time would have taken into consideration the
Soils.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have.
Yeah.
It should have, but it's also something that it doesn't have, from an engineering standpoint, it doesn't have any weight on it. Like, it's just a floating slab with those structures. It's not like a building.
Right.
And that's why like beams, I mean, again, I want to get Councilman King's opinion of all of that because that seems a little overkill, right? For what is essentially just a big sidewalk with some splash pad elements.
So then Vortex, whatever the company is, they're saying that the water features are not working because of the failure in the slab?
Not Vortex,
What-
because Vortex provided the original design.
Okay,
Advanced Aquatics
that.
and the contractor that did the slab are agreeing that the issue is the slab, and it's pretty apparent. You can see the slab fell. Jonah has gone to great lengths to investigate this. With Advanced Aquatics, they've put cameras down the line. You can see where the lines are filled with rock and debris. So they've broken and filled up with debris. And the assumption, without digging it up and actually looking at what happened, the kind of educated assumption is that the downward pressure of the slab has broken those pipes. And that's probably a pretty safe thing to bet. But anyway, that's kind of the update, which is really not an update. We've still got to get more information and figure out what our next step is. But for the foreseeable future, that splash pad is not operable.
Are you gonna be able to find out if it's a good idea, or are they gonna be able to engineer it so it doesn't happen again if you decide to use the exact same location?
Yeah, I would
Right?
think so. I think
I mean,
it depends on which engineer you ask, but any engineer can tell you, sure, we'll figure out a plan to make that thing never move again, kind of thing. So yeah,
Does it
I feel
need to relocate it, or
no. I think it does need
because
to
we
be.
have to take the slab apart.
Oh, the whole thing has to be removed,
Yeah.
all the fixtures, and a big hole dug, and probably some structural soil or something put in. This guy was recommending road base. Again, I would want to get the opinion of the engineer what we should do. But ultimately, like I said, for me, it's more of a cost issue because I don't think it's fair to the citizens or the city to pay for
Right.
it. Even though as bad as that is, hey, you're a contractor. This is one of the risks you take when you take on this business. And I understand you built, then y'all have to figure out between the three of you, which of you is are you going to share this blame? They have O&M, they have errors and omissions insurance that covers them in these types of cases usually. So, is it Vortex? Was it a bad design? Whose fault was it, right? And no one's really taking blame right now, and I understand that. I get it. They're blaming the drought, which is safe to blame.
That's it for me. And Scott.
Yeah,
Should
I heard.
we just table this in a month, 2 months? I don't know.
I can keep you all updated, and then I'll be in the meetings with Scott and Councilman King to figure out moving forward. We can just leave it under future agenda items. We'll just leave it in that as a placeholder.
Bottom line is that the splash pad will not be used this summer.
So none of the pieces work anymore?
Some of the pieces still work. I think it's just a safety issue in terms of if people are running around that with that
With the cracks?
half-inch, drop, and then two with all the cracks. It's just a liability waiting to happen.
We don't have to do a vote to table it.
I think,
Or
I thought you did. I mean, there's no harm in doing it. I move to table the discussion until more information is available.
is there a second for the table?
I'll second it, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 6C is discuss and take action on the swimming pool heating options. Yeah, would you like to lead this discussion?
I certainly could.
Well, so,
Oh,
just to let you know, Bob Lee has kind of requested this information in particular, but I think we're trying to justify more.
Sure.
than it covers.
Sure. So kind of starting off, so Jonah, do you have the estimates that you brought up a couple meetings ago about the pool covers and the reels? Do you still have those on hand?
And for sure, pull them up.
Okay. If not, I mean, I've got some options. Some of the prices may have changed. But the long and the short of it is that when the pool is heated from the months of sometimes September, but usually like mid-September through the end of January, potentially pushing into February, depending on how far the high school season goes and when people are using the pool, that during those months, the pool is heated to an ideal temperature of around 79 to 81 degrees. Okay? That allows for a fitness swim, that allows for high school, that allows for club swim, that's allowed for diving. It allows for swim lessons when those are available. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for people to use the water during that time if it is of an adequate temperature. Historically, some of the issues related to keeping the cost of the heating of the pool down have come down to how many heaters were in use, the capacity of those heaters, and how many of them were in operation at any given time, as well as any protection that the water itself or the heaters themselves had in order to provide that service and that kind of heating. And without having the printed out numbers, what I have been told is that and this was from Devin, when Devin and I first sat down a couple of years ago, was Devin had shared that during the peak of during the biggest demand for the pool, if it was being heated for an entire month, the cost could run into $5,000 to $6,000. So it's a big chunk of change for every single month. At the time, the pool had 4 heaters. I believe 2 or 3 of them were functional at the time. And the only covering for the pool to reduce the heat loss was a cover that took care of the diving well, which is approximately 25% of the pool, and another cover that covered about another 20% of the pool. So you have less than 50% of the pool that's being covered and heated. So it's not entirely shocking that the utility bill was what it was, even though it's also my understanding that I don't know that there was a way to specifically split out the utility cost from the heating of the pool with other utility costs that were happening in the parks area. But I'm guessing
the heaters in the pool are on their own meter. So
okay, all right.
If we're specifically talking about gas consumption, yes, the heaters, they're on their own.
Yeah. So having the specific numbers of over the last several years since the heaters have been in there, I think it's been 4 years, 5 years now.
About.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. Since then, there should be information about exactly how much it's been costing each month while the pool has been heated. And then also, the information is there for a comparison. So one of the things that is helpful information that is kind of accessible to everyone is even if you go and you're looking at the U.S. government energy efficiency, things that you can do to reduce your electricity bill specifically for pools. They've got an entire section on the impact of using pool covers and how they reduce the cost and by how much. So it comes down to a comparison of if we spend, let's say that we decide that we're going to get a pool covers and a pool reel and just start with that, then you're looking at in between a $10,000 and $13,000 investment for the pool reel. And then you are also single cover reel. Okay, yeah. So if that's a single cover reel, if you add 2 more tubes into it, which would allow for all of the pool covers to be pulled up into a single reel, but like on 3 different tiers so that you don't get molding. And also just makes it a lot easier to get them on and off of the pool, the whole thing to take that's an aside. But that 11,000 has probably gone up to, by what I was looking at, it's about 13,700 now, so almost $14,000. And then the pool covers themselves, those will range based on kind of what I was looking at recently, in between 217 a square foot up to 327 per square foot. And then kind of the only thing that we have to make sure that we have on ours, because we're an outdoor pool, is making sure that we get something that's got hemmed edges so that it's weighted, so that it's less likely to fly off since we don't have additional cover for that. So essentially, you're probably looking at something in the $20,000 range. Depending on where you get it from, that typically will come with a 10-year warranty on both the reel and the covers. And then the other cost is, of course, going to be the shipping, which is a chunk of change. So, but that in comparison with potentially several $1,000s every single month to spend to heat a pool, and the additional, I'm a little out of my lane on this one, but I suspect that when you put that kind of workload on pool heaters that are already outside and kind of exposed to the elements all year round, then kind of asking them to put that much work into heating the pool up to 80 degrees when it's 50 outside or 60 outside, probably doesn't extend the life of the machinery, as it were. So it's both a short-term investment that allows more people to use the pool more frequently because there's more stability with it. It's a cost-cutting measure in the long term, but also it looks like, potentially a cost-cutting measure after the first year. So, and then I can send you guys the links for the outside sources about how the math works out. Questions? Thoughts?
Is it like do you cover, so you would cover the pool all night, and then you go there and you're like, okay, today's lessons, you uncover part of it or all of it, depending on what you need. So all that effort is worth it compared to just shutting it off for days at a time and not.
Well, so the thing is, if you shut the heaters off for several days at a time, then when you go back to restart it, then you are spending a tremendous amount of energy just to bring it back up to temperature. It's kind of like the same notion of when you leave your house during the summer, generally don't turn your air conditioner off when you leave the house because it costs so much to just get it back to a livable temperature, once you're there again. So the consistency is really a big deal. Also, the consistency of the temperature is going to help with a lot of the distribution of the chemicals, so that, and I'm not sure to the degree that temperature fluctuations impact chemicals, but it's my understanding that the more consistency you have, and the more consistency that you have with your temperature and your use, then the more consistency that you have with your chemical needs.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's what the reels are for. It works like a garden hose. You unravel it, and then that helps you reel it in. Correct?
Long, very, very big garden hoses.
Yes, very big.
Yeah.
But is it a one-person job, a two-person job?
Technically one person can do it. It's a pain. Usually two people for a 25-meter pool with 3 8-foot covers takes 10, 12 minutes, depending on how people pull it together. When we have pool reels, one of the things that's nice about having them and having this particular setup is that you can have a swimmer, you can have a kid safely pull that across the pool. And then, when it comes to reeling it back up, you can also have your athletes safely do that, or a fitness swimmer, or a lifeguard, or whomever it happens to be. But it's a quick, efficient, simple process. So
You can do it per lane as you need it for that
yeah.
day.
So oftentimes
So most of the pool might be covered except for maybe 2 spots.
Yeah. So one of the things that sometimes can be done, during the winter season, is if you know that no one's going to be using the diving well, then you just go ahead and leave that covered. Doesn't make a huge impact, but it just means a little bit less work. But yeah, you can, usually if you're going to have a group, like a significant group of people, you probably want to take all the covers off of all 6 lanes, just because, especially if there happen to be kids there, you don't want anyone who's feeling curious about going underneath there, because once you can't see them, now you've created a safety issue. But given how fast it is to get them on and off the pool, you can take them off for fitness swim in the morning. You can put them back on afterwards. You can leave it covered until the afternoon and evening, until it's time to go and do that again, and then close it up. So then you've got a pool that you're heating, instead of heating a pool 24 hours a day when you have 4 or 5 hours of pool use. Now you've got a pool that you're heating 24 hours a day, but it's only letting heat escape for those 4 or 5 hours. And outside of that, you have consistency. And so that just turns into an energy savings for you. Also, it's not a terrible idea that, given the kind of exposure that the pool has, it does act as somewhat as a buffer for dirt, since we've got some activities going around there, quite a bit of traffic.
So the only thing that I just looking at this one in particularly, and I'm assuming it's because it's a 3-hole setup, that it's holding covers up to 20 feet. So we might need to look to see if we need a 3-pole version or 1-pole or 2-pole, because our covers, depending on which direction they're running, they're definitely going to be more than 20 feet.
Yeah, and so that $13,000 from before, that's actually from Rectronics, and they've got it's a 10-foot triple tube, and then on that one, that's going to take you out to 150 feet for this particular one that I was looking at. But yes,
May I suggest a couple of things?
Please.
This is for your, if you're going to make a recommendation to council eventually, there's some things that I would want to know from an analysis standpoint. One is, okay, so you're going to tell me how much these things cost. I want to know how much are we spending on gas right now? How much is the savings going to amount to? Great. If I do some math, it's going to save me $4,000 a season. Okay, so $4,000, and these are 20. That means that's 5 years. How often do they have to be replaced? Is it 70? For instance, so those are the types of things that I think y'all need to, if you aren't already, be prepared to address or answer those questions, because there is a ROI that probably needs to be considered, and I know that you're kind of getting to some of that. The other thing is to not just, and you touched on this briefly, and I think that's important, is not just focus on the gas aspect and the heat aspect, but all the other things that might be improved by the pool. So these covers also act as a UV barrier of some kind, some other things where some of your elements to the pool that might wear out not quite as quickly, and that'd be another area of cost savings. So it's not just gas, but that's my 2 cents suggestion for the future. I will say council did approve a bunch of one-time expenditures, and this definitely is something that I think staff supports, and it's just a matter of getting a good, solid recommendation with the information they need to be able to make that decision. And I think the council, if you can prioritize what that spending looks like, this, not that, here's a list of things we want, but these are the things we really think are important, that really helps too, so that they can say, okay, well, let's do these. Because they're not going to be able to do everything, but they can do 1 or 2. So, yeah.
I know this has probably been asked before, but how many people actually, other than the school, I know the school uses it, but how many other people use it on a regular basis?
Well, you said, here's one of the challenges I've had. It's just unfortunate. It just sucks. It's like the splash pad. I swear, I keep thinking that there's an Indian burial ground here or something, because we have like a dark cloud of bad luck over Castroville. But, and I didn't say that out loud. Please don't. I mean, I did. But,
On live television.
I know. Please don't judge me. But in all seriousness, so I, unfortunately, we did have a bunch of heater issues. No fault of our own. There were a lot, not really staff issue. Like, we had a bunch of problems. We tried to get the warranty fixed. Took freaking forever. Only had one working heater for the longest time. So I don't think we've had, since they were installed, a season where people could actually get to the pool reliably and know that it was going to be warm. And I think you have to give it a good season of that, where people can build trust and faith that it's going to work and that they can take use of it. And we just haven't had that. And now we have the construction project going on. And
I really think once that
So-
construction project is done and now we have this,
but then we got to
Beautiful.
build outdoor bathrooms and changing spaces.
True.
So, I mean, it's never
Yeah.
ending. And once you
Yeah.
build it, so if you've ever painted one room in your house, all the other rooms all of a sudden look drab, and you need to paint those too. And I was having that experience as I looked at this beautiful building that's being built, and I looked beyond it, and I was like, oh, I know there's going to be other improvements that will come. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Like, there's not, so short answer to your question, not very many. I don't know. We can give you actual statistics, 5 or 6. It's not a lot of people that are taking advantage of, in the winter when there's a heated pool, that are actually using it on a consistent basis.
I mean,
There might be 20 unique individuals total, but on average, 5 or 6 that are using it on a regular basis, right?
And is the school chipping in at all on this?
Yeah. So we do. I mean, yes, but that, I also want to caution you in that area. I mean, this is a policy decision the council made and supported, and it was with the clear understanding that this would be subsidized. It is, like, in other words, it's a benefit for the community, and it's not a moneymaker, and we're not expecting people to pay enough to break even, because you can't. No one's going to use it for $800 a month or whatever it would cost to share that over the number of users that we actually have using it. So it's being subsidized. I will say that I think our original estimate, you threw out some numbers, I think it was $45,000 for gas for a season is what we were anticipating. And that sounds about right when you think about the $5,000 number or whatever. And we, to my knowledge, the last time I checked, which admittedly has been a little bit, we were well under that. The last time I think I looked at an entire season, we'd only spent like $23,000 only, right? But that's almost half of what we were anticipating, so that's good. But we didn't make any money because the fitness passes cost what they cost. The number of users are what they are. The pool accidentally made money 2 years ago in the summer. But pools, as I've shared with council, they're amenities, and for the vast majority of communities who have aquatic centers or pools or what have you, they are not, they're subsidized. You don't make money on them, right? There are a couple of rare exceptions where I think North Richmond Hills has a water park. I honestly haven't looked at their finances, but it's a legitimate water park. They might be breaking even or making a little bit of money on that. But I mean, generally they're subsidized operations that are meant to be nice attributes of your community, nice amenities for your community. So.
And the 4 or 5, people that Scott was mentioning earlier who kind of are regularly using the pool during the post-summer, the off-season, because of the community advocacy to extend the fitness swim until October, like 10 years ago, because of that expansion back then, that's part of the reason why the pool has continued to be open, on the weekends and in the mornings and in the evenings for fitness swim. And so even though there is a relatively few number of fitness swimmers who may be coming in during those times, maybe those 4 or 5 that are there, during the cooler months, part of what is an assist to that is having the high school come in the morning and having club come in and kind of having some additional bodies in the water to, not only help stir the chemicals and make sure that things don't sink, but also to provide more facility use for something that the community is already supporting. So.
And could you even have open swim on Saturdays during the cooler? I mean, if you're not having a need, but.
I suspect that would be a question of lifeguard staffing and.
I've thought about it. I could take the kids to the pool, right? Just such a.
In the winter season, in the back half of that, after summer season, a lot of it has to do with staffing. Like today, we had to cancel fitness swim because staffing. There's outside factors that happen. School happens, accidents happen. There's things that are out of our control. That unfortunately, we're down to like 5 lifeguards. I think a lot of them are going back to school or in school have extracurricular activities. So it really just comes down to staffing. If we were to open that up.
I want to, so you've already applied to, as one of the, kind of the CIP item for the rods and covers, but do we need to give more justification for that? Because,
I don't think it hurts to add more justification. I can get updated. These are a year old.
yeah,
I can get an updated quote. I can work with Nicole to see where she's getting her numbers from, and maybe we can average them together. Because like this, for this one through Leslie's, it's a 3-year warranty, $6,500 for the cover, $11,000 for the reel, and then $900 for the reel cover.
because I feel like if we do a, you got to kind of show it on paper, right? Like Scott was saying, if we do this investment, then look at how much more we can add to the pool.
Absolutely.
And how
There's
much
gonna-
more it can protect.
There's gonna be some statistics that are gonna have to be researched. Consumption of gas, how many users we have,
Different kinds of programming.
different programming, the availability for different programming.
Because once it's there and everything's on and hopefully running well, put more people in it.
Correct. So
I guess my question also would be, what's more important to pool usage? The bathroom situation or the showers or this? And they may not even be price comparable at all.
Mhm.
But if we do this and we sink all the money into it, but we don't have anywhere for people to change and shower, is it worth it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You have the flip side of that, which I think the high school team can certainly attest to it, and the club team certainly can attest to it, is that the bathrooms that are there are serviceable. Like,
Yeah.
it's not great, but it's doable. Like showering would be nice, but in both groups, as soon as the water turns cold, people drop from those programs like flies, because and for good reason, because parents understandably don't want to put their kids in the water for 76 when the water is 76, especially if it's 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. Like, it's already dark now, they're cold, and now they're going to have to go and do those things. So
the other factor
Yeah.
too that hasn't been discussed, sorry, is your wind and chill factor.
Mhm.
That is another big factor in terms of the. I mean, because the water can be that temperature, but outside temperature, if it's cold, it's cold. I mean, there's no escaping that. And then once you get out of the water,
Mhm.
you're running for your robe or your towel or to change. And then the other thing too is whenever we have this community center, we'll have 2 full, decent sized restrooms. They won't have showers, but the thing too is, I mean, I know right now with the restroom trailer, we've got technically 15 toilets, 2 on the men's side, the 180A, and however many restrooms are in the women's. So we're gonna get down to 2, and I mean, I don't know how some of those users are gonna take it in terms of having to change. I don't know if the high schoolers change there, or if they just put on a parka and something and then they change at the high school. Same thing with club. I don't know if they end up changing there, but yeah.
Okay, well, where do we go from here? 'Cause we're not ready to make a recommendation.
Do you want to, we need to do some research. And
I would recommend that
Yeah.
we just bring it back next month with some more research, so that way we can present it to council as a one-time purchase, to include heater expenses, gas consumption, maybe some user statistics and numbers, more or less how many people are using it, what the cost is that we're bringing in for high schoolers, club swimmers. If we average out 10 patrons throughout the day, what those past costs are or revenue is, and then I can update these quotes in addition to getting maybe some quotes with Nicole as well, so that way they have everything. And
Well, and a bigger picture is I was talking with Nicole about updating the section of the master plan for the swimming pool, because if you go through the whole list, if you read the master plan, most everything there has been completed. There was a line item for like just structural repairs, I think, in the master plan, and I'm sure that will have to be continued to be addressed, because the pool's not new. I guess that's the thing in general. Like, we've inherited a whole park structure that's not new, right? We need to try to take care of this stuff. So if we can, this is like I think like a stepping stone to really expanding the pool covers and stuff. The programming that you can get in the pool, because you can protect it and make sure the water temperature is the right. You know, then we can keep adding amenities to it. But if we can kind of get the right vision, and hopefully in the meantime, you know, get some covers, I think it'll help a lot, because you'll have like you were saying, this brand spanking new community center, and we want to take care of the pool behind it.
So did you want to table it or just?
I think we'll table it for a month.
Till next month.
hopefully, if okay. And let me know.
That should be enough time to get those updated numbers. I'll get with utility department and try to get those numbers in terms of consumption, and then update these.
And all, you know, the good advantages. Okay. Do you want to make a motion to do the table, or update the minutes in that respect?
I'm asking if we have to make a motion to table.
Patrick's not here.
I'll give it a shot.
We don't have to do a motion to table it?
Yeah.
Okay. It is officially tabled. So that was 6C. On item 6D, thank you. We need to, Patrick has emailed requesting that we recommend this agreement, and I don't know if everybody was able to read that in the packet.
I have it up on
A
the screen.
summary of it. Oh yes, thank you.
If you want me to read it real quick, or did everybody read it?
I read it.
Okay.
Are you up to date, Steve? I think, like it says, Scott's on board with this, and the Friends have approved this as well, so they voted for it to recommend it. This what's it called? This agreement. Yeah. Is there any other questions or discussion about it?
I make a motion that we accept the agreement with the Wildlife Habitat Foundation. Non-binding agreement. Management plan for Castroville Regional Park. You want the whole thing?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, did you?
No.
On 27A, there can have an update from the Friends of Castroville Regional Park.
Do I have to go there and say where I am?
Unless you want it to be officially recorded
Oh,
on.
thank you, I'll be right here. I'm glad you got taken care of that, because I had things to add to that, which, you know, all that already made the meeting so good. And we also did send a letter to council. Mayor and council all have our letter of support. So things we just got to doing, our butterfly garden curbing project is complete. It cost us $6,000, which I thought was too high. We replaced the ancient timbers with limestone blocks to match those in the botanical garden, make it a decent space. Just finished that. We done. For upcoming events, Blue Ash is going to be on Saturday, October 25th. It's always the last Saturday before Halloween. There will be a number of changes this time. All designs made it better and more fun. Perhaps the biggest change will be the re-addition of a costume contest. We used to have a costume contest, but it competed with the trunk or treat. It will be back by popular demand. Also, we will not have a trunk or treat this year per se, but we'll have something very much like it. There are vehicles where people hand out candy in their trunks. Individuals and or organizations will post candy stations along lower trailer parks. so we are at the emergency education. We also have solar booths and food truck. We're going to eliminate the special truck this time and a couple other things. So but hopefully all be really, that's that. Just stay tuned for Facebook and Twitter. And we don't usually have a work session in August, but we're having one this year because of the amount of work that needs to be done in the butterfly garden and on the trails. It'll be this Saturday, 7:30 to 9:30, before it gets too hot. And I'm looking for some adults to lead work groups in the. Finally, thanks to Jonah for coming to my rescue today. His heavy-duty head cutters and his useful energy. Very much appreciated. He accomplished more yesterday morning and this morning than I would have been able to do in a month, or maybe 2 months. So, thank you.
My pleasure.
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, Jonah, you get to do your update.
Yes. To Helen's point, I really do hope that I've got as much energy as Helen and Priscilla have, pruning all of those plants down there by hand. I was like, I'm definitely gonna bring out something. I was just like, I can't let these people show me up. No. So
It's not in our.
yeah, they have a club, 2 against 1. So
Yeah.
anyway, just a quick update for me. Community center construction. It's coming along very well. If anybody has had the opportunity to go pass by, you will be amazed at how quick this building has, I would really say, dried in. I mean, the roof, not the roof panels, but the sheeting is already down. Framing is almost complete. The only thing that they lack is going to be our porches on both the front and the rear. They're already working inside on electrical and plumbing, doing all those rough-ins. So it is moving very quickly, so which is really nice. Current requests for informations or RFIs that are outstanding is going to be a request for substitution of tile in our restrooms, and then our ice machine specs. So the ice machine specs, those are pretty simple. I just got to give them some specs on some of the different commercial ice machines that we might look at installing. They just want to make sure that we have enough power and a water source. Tile for the restroom. So the architect right now, the ball is in his court, but he has requested physical samples of the tile for the restrooms because of the lead time. The material board he took back just so that way he could compare what was originally spec'd and what they would like to recommend or change out. But basically the one that was on that material board, which is a light slate gray and it had a little bit of texture to it, is about 10 to 12 weeks a lead time. So they're requesting something that could be in sooner, same color or close to. The ones that they did send to LPA or Lawrence, they didn't have a texture to them, so he's kind of going back and forth on that. So once we get that physical, I'll make sure to bring it or share it or leave it here at City Hall so that way we can kind of compare it, and I'll let y'all know that it's here. But those are the only 2 RFIs that are currently open. To Helen, butterfly garden curbing installed and completed. We're currently working on cutting out overgrowth and ensuring the irrigation is properly running. So because of the curbing, I guess whenever they were doing that, they may have hit or removed a irrigation head. In addition to the, I call it a little hockey puck, but that irrigation puck was off. So we've got it back on. We ran through it earlier today. So we've got water there. I worked on the hillside trying to help them cut that stuff back. So we're about, what would you say, a quarter of the way done, maybe? All right, so they do have a volunteer group on Saturday, so I will leave the rest of them. I'll be out of town tomorrow, or else I'd be over there helping them. But anything else left, I'll make sure to trim up and clean up. So reservation report. For the park, regional park volleyball courts, we had 3 for the last month. No athletic field rentals for the last month. 1 softball field rental at Lions. No amphitheater rentals. Area rentals, we had 1. Pavilion rentals, 6. 15 total table rentals. Pool parties, we had 24. RVs, 44, and then RV tent camping, 1. And then here's a breakdown of our work orders. We had 127 total park work orders, 19 facility work orders. So again, July last year of 2024, we had 126. This year we had 146. I don't think I updated my monthly average, so disregard that. But we had 120 last month. Staffing, we still have our full-time staff. We have the one part-time facility maintenance worker. We have one temporary staff. He will probably be leaving us end of September. He's joining the military. And then we'll backfill that position with the full-time person. Pool staff, we're down to 5. Upcoming, again, same priorities, just the Garden of Roots replacement and tree sign installation, splash pad repair plan, and then just continuing the monitoring of the community center construction. Outside of that, that's all. Any questions on this report? Yes, ma'am.
So this actually goes back to, I wasn't here last month, and so I was just reading through some of the things that were presented last time. And one of the things that came up with the work orders that I was curious about was you were talking about the performance and accountability and using a mix of industry standards and performance metrics. Can you tell me a little bit more? Because that, I mean, the number of maintenance requests was a part of that. So how does performance and accountability, I know it's a big umbrella kind of question, but like what mix of matrix are being used and how are they weighted is a question that I'm curious about, even if now is the best time to answer it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the metrics that we use iWorks. It's a software that we use. And in there, the crew leader or whichever crew is available to put those work orders in, they put them in. I can get you specifics on how many are like service requests, so how many are citizen requested. A lot of them can come as, hey, the toilet's not flushing, or hey, there's wasp nests, or a rock, on the top of the wall. So I can break that up if we're looking at that as well, or we can kind of just leave it as is. But really, the matrix is just iWorks, and that's where we input all of our information, and then I just pull the report from there.
I'll think about it and ask you more later.
Okay, for sure. Anything else?
Were you able to, how often are the soccer fields getting irrigated? Because their season's going to start.
Yes.
And it takes time for grass to grow and stuff, but
Sure.
that dust pit has been there.
Yes. So I'm going to work with the wastewater treatment plant on getting a schedule and making sure that, again, those irrigation pucks are set. We're probably going to water it 3 or 4 times a week, as much as we can, just so that way we're moving each field and cycling through probably for about an hour. Each zone will go for about an hour or so, just so that way we can make sure that they're hydrated, moist, and then if any traffic is getting on there, they're keeping up with all that.
So it's not currently being watered?
They are currently being
Yeah.
watered, but they're not on a schedule. So it's just
Okay.
whenever somebody's available. Hey, can we turn the water on?
Does it take a lot to babysit them because of the nature of the
Not
system?
will have to not sit there, but be close by to make sure that nobody is getting into the sprinklers, because we've had that
Oh.
at one time.
I just
Hey,
didn't know
Water!
if you're still not sure if the system's
no. So all of our
squared away.
all of our systems, they are all on a timer. So it's just a matter of making sure that when wastewater sends us water, our timers are in line with that. So let's say if they send us water at 10 o'clock and we run from 10 to 2, so those 4 hours, our clocks, depending on what zone we want watered, are kicking on at 10 or just before 10 o'clock, and then running for an hour, and then the next zone is kicking on and continuing down the line. So being over like a 3 or 4 day period, we should be able to water plenty.
Whenever you finish with yours, I have one more comment.
I had one more question too about, were you able to get some good feedback or on the pool maintenance? Because a lot of people were upset about the algae problem, I guess. So I know it was closed, and I talked to the pool guy too, but I don't know if, do you think the lifeguards or whoever's there is going to be able to stay on top of it?
They will.
Or
I think a lot of
the
it just,
chlorine injector.
a lot of it had to do, there was a lot of issues. I mean, the chlorine injector was one issue, lack of chlorine, and just making sure that the guards are keeping track of that tank that we have, making sure that, hey, if we're halfway, we need to make sure that we're calling HASA to come out and refill. And then Advanced Aquatics did come out and say, hey, look, this is what y'all need to do with whatever black algae is left or whatever algae is left, just making sure that our chlorine is staying high, and then just keep on scrubbing it by hand up until, just so that way the chemicals can penetrate the membrane. So.
Oh, okay, this was to Jonah.
Mhm.
That, back to Helen's presentation about Boo Bash. I wish the park board would either send a letter, Jonah would send a letter, to not have soccer on that Saturday. Because they haven't been honoring, they were supposed to just have their thing and be out of there by noon. No, they're not. They've even scheduled other things after that a little bit. And that really throws the Boo Bash thing. And that's only one day.
Do they already know to plan around it?
They did, yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
I
did
talked
say
to them, yeah, and I think that's what we need to make sure that is. I will be there. I will be more available to kind of enforce that, because they did say, hey, if we stop at 12, can we still hold? And I said, if you stop at 12, yes. But the thing is you have not been stopping at 12.
And they,
So
they
just
don't get out of
ensuring
there.
that. Lately, I haven't been able to really enforce that because we have the touch-a-truck. So being that that's kind of off my plate and the reworking of stuff, we might be able to have it more enforced. But they are aware that day they are going to stop at 12 o'clock.
Personally, I wish they weren't there at all that day, because even though they stop at 12, they hang around, they practice, they do all this other, and so the cars never leave, or there's more traffic coming through. And that was the safety factor for the kids.
For sure, and I think the way Helen explained it to me earlier, changing it up to where it's not out of the trunks of the vehicles and making those candy stations might help the flow of it this year.
I think it'll help the flow, but the candy stations are going to be where some of the soccer people are going to be. So they don't need to take over our whole park all the time. And on that particular Saturday, they shouldn't even be there.
Mhm.
I mean,
What I would recommend is let's see how this year goes with the changes, and if the park board wants to make that change and have it to where we put it in their contract, then we amend their contract and then put it before council and make sure that they agree to it.
okay, we can go through one, and then people will see that that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The last couple of items that I have, bear with me. So I have some updated photos. So this is from beginning of July. So if we look at the beginning of July, we had just our concrete pad with our rough end plumbing, very just bland, light gray concrete pad. If we go to today, let me see if we can find like an overview. So, I mean, as you can see, they got walls in, the roof sheeting is on, their zip system, they have pretty much everything. I believe this section was enclosed. This was at 9:50 a.m. So, between now and then, it has come a long way. I mean, within a month, we have walls up, roof trusses are up. We're almost pretty much dried in. Lighting, we have some temporary electrical in there yesterday that was installed. If anybody would like to come and walk it, please contact me and I'll get you a hard hat and we'll go and walk it with the superintendent, because pictures do not do it justice. And even just driving on the outside, this community space, at least this space, is grand. It's huge. The restrooms are really nice in terms of space, the catering kitchen, conference room, it's all really coming together. So if anybody would like to do a walk, I would recommend in the mornings.
Yeah, no kidding. I would love to come see it if like
sure.
a group of us, so that you're not having to do it multiple times, but I'd love to.
Just let me know. That way we can get it scheduled and go from there. Don't tell them that you already walked it.
She has.
No, go ahead, Helen.
That'd be very amazing. I have to admit, I had concerns about it being smaller than the depot, but it's not. The inside, as I said, it's just wonderful.
The slab always looks smaller.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
once you get the walls up,
You're gonna love it. View off the back porch for the pool,
whole thing is just great.
I'm even thinking about it.
Yes, sir.
Is the roofing going to be red like the panels on there?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're going to be silver. I would like red, but I'll confirm with the superintendent and double check. But I think we had scoped it for silver.
And if I may say one more thing, I failed, Rondo, thank you, Stella, for also coming to our rescue. You've been coming and working, cut. So, thank you. I'm done now. I'm not done yet. No, I'm just gonna.
So in addition to Adriana and I have been kind of going back and forth on trying to make sure, kind of, Councilman Lee has brought up that the RV park might not be a moneymaker, or what are different improvements that we can do. So just to kind of make sure that we're covering our bases and we're getting statistics, we used to have a survey out that would go out to RV guests after their stay at the park. So we're probably going to institute that again. But here are just some of the quick questions that Adriana had put together. Overall experience on a scale of 1 to 5. How many times have you stayed at the RV park? What are some of the priorities, ranking those priorities? What did we do well? And what could we improve? So we're going to work through that. Some of this stuff can be done through Civic Rec, which is going to be the reservation software that we already have. The only thing is Civic Rec has 3 types of questions: rating, comment, yes or no. So we'll have to word those to try to fit in that, which I don't think would be very hard. But just we're going to use that as our guide.
Is it of particular importance that it goes through Civic Rec?
Not necessarily. I'm just trying to use without spending additional monies on something else. I know SurveyMonkey is free. Some aspects of SurveyMonkey you have to, like I think ranking and all that, are paid.
I was thinking less SurveyMonkey and more. You can do a Google form. So Google form, you've got a tremendous number of options of the types of questions that you can ask.
Okay.
If you've got a Gmail account,
Perfect.
then you can use it for that. So it's an option, and it's a no cost option.
Great. That's perfect. I mean, so that'll help me and Sandy moving forward. We'll get these questions. I'll email them. I'll go back and forth with Adriana on trying to make sure that we're kind of getting what we want, so that way we can.
I was
show
thinking we
council.
could do one survey just to blast out to whoever has stayed there,
Mhm.
maybe 3 years, 2
Yeah.
years. But then you can also update like your ongoing one, like, hey, thanks for staying with us.
So, are we planning on addressing the concerns that come back from the survey?
It'll allow us to plan for budget. I mean, we're not going to be able to obviously do it this upcoming budget, but it'll allow us to plan for future budgets. And then CIP, like if they say, oh, well, your bathhouse needs to be updated. Okay, well, what updates? Are we looking at more shower stalls, less toilets? Are we looking at ventilation, AC? Same thing with the rec hall. Are we looking at, what in their mind are renovations, I guess? What are they looking for to make it more appealing for them to come back? Which really, we have the same people coming back time and time again. And a lot of it right now looks vacant, and it's just because of the season. It's just so hot.
Right.
They want to go.
And there's no river anymore.
Exactly.
Isn't it extremely obvious? I mean, we've looked at numbers to show that the RV park
It is.
makes money.
I think
Just
too,
because one person says it doesn't mean it's true.
that is correct. And Scott did address that. But yeah, I think this is just going to kind of help us in terms of planning for budget. And I don't know if Councilman Mers has talked to Councilman Lee about it, but I think really one of the things is just making sure that Councilman Lee does know, and he can look at the revenue and expenses, and see, and we can show that. I can show that. That's no problem.
And on the
But yeah,
and also on the flip side of it is that, especially if it's a survey that goes out to people who've been there in the last 3 years, for the things that they say are the most important to them and how well we've rated on that, theoretically, flip side of the coin, then that seems like an opportunity to say, look, this money that you were questioning whether or not we should spend it, this is how it was spent, and this is how people are responding to it in this very positive way. So instead of necessarily having to always deal with what do we spend next, sometimes having justification for it. This was money well spent and building hopefully some trust long term. So they just start saying yes more often, maybe.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but my understanding from what Mr. Lee has said in council meetings is that he does not believe the numbers that have been reported in the budget are accurate, because in the past, the RV park made substantially less money or lost money.
Again,
So he is skeptical
Well,
of the
there
numbers
was
that
an
he presented.
update to the fees a couple of years
yes.
back.
So and that was also another thing that Scott tried to let him know, that there was also a management director change when Councilman Lee was mayor. So if he's going back to those numbers, there probably is going to be a change and a deficit whenever those other two individuals were here versus when Devin came in and
And then we start making money.
exactly. So, but that's just just wanted to keep y'all updated. I will definitely use and look into Google Forms to see how that'll help and do. But yes.
Well, we used to rely a lot on surveys, but back then, the survey form was given to every RVer when they registered. Is there any contact, are you getting those, chamber brochures to the?
No, and a lot of it has to do with we don't go door to door unless it's for like, hey, we're gonna have a water outage or something like that, or hey, you're past due or whatever. A lot of people like the online stuff. So what I can do, if Google Forms is an option, in their receipt, we can put it in their receipt and say, hey, please go and do this survey. It's gonna take you 3 minutes, just so that way we can help better your experience here at the RV park. So.
Yeah, I just say, get that survey, because actually, there would not even probably to stay in the laundry and pump in the survey.
Mhm.
Because that told us loud and clear, they want the laundry, and so that's why we have one.
The other thing Adriana had mentioned was a shade structure over the splash pad. So I just have a couple here. This one here is a 40 by 30. I believe our splash pad is like a 50 by 30 or something like that. This piece right here is about $13,000. We have another one here, 50 by 40, $13,000 as well. So they're just different options. And again, this is if we go with a cell shade for that material. If we were to go with a steel or something like that, we're going to be looking at probably 2 or 3 times this cost.
So
That
with
was-
the funds in the special project fund, that we can afford one of these more.
Most likely, yes.
How often do the shades need to be replaced? I'm just knowing, because
I didn't do the research. I didn't do the research on that, but I do know that a lot of municipalities and school districts are moving to this. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the maintenance is very low. You really just have to change the shade itself, that cell shade. So I can do some research and see what the longevity of that is. Because like this one here, I don't know what the difference is, but this one is 60 by 40. And
we have a bunch of funds now that could probably, I think, cover the
like the first 1 or 2. Yeah.
right, with the donation and what's allocated.
Again, this is scoped to go over the splash pad. So if we don't, moving forward, depending on what Councilman King says, and we end up whatever decision we end up coming to, do we want a 40 by 30 or do we want smaller ones to go throughout the park?
Well, do you want to? So we're waiting for this grant.
Mhm.
It's going to be a multi-year process if we get approved. But do you want to install a shade thing? Is that 30 by 40? I guess
This one is a
somewhere.
30 by 40.
If the splash pad is there, you could stick it in that blank spot behind it, or I don't.
I would
where
I
you're
would
gonna
recommend
proceed.
personally. I
Or
would
do you want to wait?
I would say let's wait to see what the plan is with the splash pad, because if they do say, hey, you know what, let's relocate the splash pad because of X, Y, and Z, or hey, let's keep the splash pad there. We can definitely put a shade over the splash pad. That's no problem. The clearance is fine. But again, we also wanted to have shade for the parents that are sitting there. So Do we just get a smaller or cantilever shade that goes over part of it and then another one on the side? You know, that's kind of, I would just say we can look at some different options, or let me know what options you all like. If you like the cell, or if you like cantilever, or if you like these 4 posts. And then once we know what the plan is moving forward with that splash pad, we can decide from there.
We have like the splash pad, and then we're also talking if we potentially get the grant, so we can maybe slip it in between
Correct.
these 2 events.
Yes.
That's a lot of.
Yeah. The other thing that we're gonna juggle as well is Castroville United is looking to turf the section from where the splash pad in that grassy area is, from that section to the field in that area, whatever that space is at. They're looking to turf that at their expense and their cost, but
With
just
irrigation,
with irrigation.
because that spot isn't irrigated right now.
That is correct. Yeah. So they're looking at the option of putting in grass so that way they can extend their playing area to smaller, I guess, smaller kids' fields or
But actual
Or half
grass
fields?
turf.
actual grass. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Thank you. Any other questions about that? There's usually an item here that talks about the next meeting, and I think it's September 17th. It would be our usual time. Yes, ma'am.
Can I talk about a couple of things for y'all to think about and consider?
Yes, please.
Okay. I know Regional Park is 90% park, but there are the other parks. And one of the things mentioned tonight when we were talking about September Square was what is the family and what is the best. So those of you that have been here a long time know that years ago, Garden Club, we were selling bricks for family members and one is the best side and one is the best side. When Garden Club folded in 2017, we wanted to continue to be able to have families to purchase those bricks like we were doing it to get them to the September Square. It's family members, some of them are big, little ones in there. So I continue to get people ask me about buying bricks or their family or for somebody that was in the military. When we folded, I went to American Legion to see would y'all like to pick up that project? Because y'all are really, into September Square. No, we don't want to. I went to Conservation Society. Would y'all like to continue doing that? Still want to do that. No, we don't do it. So I've never been able to find it. I did it myself for a while. But then we lost our brick person and I had to find somebody else, so it just kind of faded away. But I do still get questions. And I would maybe like for y'all to think about keeping that up. I mean, it doesn't take that much time. We had a form they could fill out to let us know what they wanted on it. We made the bricks, and then it would come back, and we would actually we did the whole paper brick out, over it out. I would like to see, maybe y'all think about starting that. If it might fall under which the park does. Or help me think of an organization in town that might be interested in doing it. But I don't know of anybody. But it was very popular. I mean, the bricks were pretty inexpensive at that time. I don't know.
Not much.
The single one's $15 and you put 3 lines on it. The bigger ones, and I just talked last week to someone who wanted to get a big one for the whole family. If y'all have never walked it or looked at it, I'd encourage you to take a look at what's there. There's a lot of there's a lot of history in those bricks that are outlined there. That's the first thing I'd like y'all to maybe think about, finding some way to redo it.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So this if it does, because I can see this kind of going in line with like the regional park memorial benches and trees and being similar. Would these bricks need to go before anybody for approval, or is it just, hey, you put your family name and that's it? Is it specific to just family name and or veteran, or can they put like?
One side is just for veterans.
Okay.
And the other side is family, and there's all kinds of things. Just go sometime and walk real slow and read some.
Mhm.
Well, you know, they didn't just put family names on them. They've got inscriptions on it. Okay? So no, there's not. We didn't ever say you can't put something on there if you want to, and nobody ever not have lines or lines. But I do still have people that ask, how can we do it? And it's hard. All of y'all. And so, I'd like y'all to think about maybe how to do it, and maybe it could fall under.
Oh, I wasn't volunteering. I was just asking. No, I do. I agree. I mean, we already have a form similar, so I just want to make sure that if we go down, if we do absorb this, or if Park Board wants to, are there restrictions on what gets put on it? I mean, can somebody just say, hey, this is, for example, the Chang family, and they have some type of, have to be appropriate? I'm not saying I would put something inappropriate,
Right.
but I'm just saying, like, do we want?
Probably needs to be approved by somebody.
Yeah, do we want it?
We never had anybody ask something.
I would recommend, if we go down this road, that it doesn't necessarily get approval by anybody, but just gets reviewed, just to make sure, like, hey, some shop or something. Yeah,
Just say,
yeah.
It's family or it's veteran.
Yeah, we never sold to anybody who wanted to advertise something.
See, and that's what I'm saying, because when I was
Strictly veteran information and family.
perfect, because when I was in school, they did yearbook
Like the
stuff
school
and
night,
quotes. People were smart, and they used, I think, the periodic table they used, and it spelled out something that was
Yeah.
appropriate.
I think it's,
that's,
yeah.
That's why I want to make sure, like, if we do go down this road, that it gets reviewed or
Right.
something, just so that way it,
But I really would urge y'all to take a look at it. Because there's a lot of space still left, especially on the veteran side.
Can we need to add this or talk about it another time?
No,
Did you have, we can treat this like citizens' comments, and I can give you 3 minutes for your other suggestion.
Okay.
We're not on the agenda at all. I don't like-
That was picture.
Suggestion falls under Steinbach House, the master plan, and the last thing that is in the master plan for Steinbach House. And what is becoming a problem, is the south side, is caving into Larry Arnold's house on that edge. He's got trees that have fallen over because nothing has ever been done on the south side to maintain that ditch that his house kind of sits in. Bill King has been looking at it to see what maybe we can do, build a berm of some kind that would take the water down to where it goes into it. But in addition to fixing that, and I think the master plan, I should have looked before I came, talks about fencing on that side between Steinbach House and Barry Arnold's house. And then some kind of safety net. People walk all the way down to look at the river that isn't there now. That is a 20-foot drop. That's where that cement culvert stops. And if anybody ever fell back there, we have one big liability problem. So I think that's the last thing, if I'm not mistaken, that's in the master plan for Steinbach House.
That's not a paper street there. That's just people just access from the Steinbach house.
Oh, yeah.
Back there, it's the land, and if they're gonna walk, and, they know the river's there, it is a viewpoint, it's a landmark in. We tried to, 2 years ago, we tried to get, TxDOT to give us money to make a bridge across, and that all got turned down. And so but if we're not gonna do some kind of walkway over the landmark, like people want to do, we need to make sure that we don't have that liability back there that very day. Y'all have never walked out there, advise you to go over to Starbucks sometime and just walk all the way down. How bad it is.
And for what it's worth, I live right over there and consistently walk down there, and it would be no big thing for if someone was not paying attention, kids were playing back there because it's a great hide and seek spot, and it is just brambly trees drop.
Yeah.
So it's
Need to discuss
yeah.
Yeah, I think it needs to get brought up.
So let me get with Phil first, and then I'll get back with Adriana or Jonah. See what his idea are. See, that's-
Yeah, that'd be good. And we bring it back as a discussion, a presentation and discussion probably, and then I mean we have split rail that we've used throughout the park. It's really easy to replace, simple, you know. Yeah, that split rail that we have. So I mean we have some of that actually on hand, so we could always use that in the meantime until. I mean, if it's just a matter of putting up some type of fence with a sign that says "Do not cross" or "Danger" or something like that, that can be easily done. But yeah, let me know.
Excuse me. Does the board have any other future agenda items to add?
I do not.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's 8:06.